All right, this is the Corey Maselli Show on Rat Fiend Radio with the sexy Viking Matthias Backstrom Anderson. Moving forward with Joey Goodspeed. All right, Joey, I know this is kind of hard to talk about, man, because it hurts me to even like say this, but I remember you shared this with me that some years after your NFL career is over, you mentioned you were in so much pain that, like, just calling a spade, you said literally, the only thing that kept you from blowing your damn brains out, I may be using some more powerful language than you used, was the fact that you had a daughter and you just knew you had to hang on. So
Yeah,
that's pretty powerful, severe pain, brother. And I know, thank God that's behind you at this point. You just kind of shared that whole story with us.
yeah. It was more than just the physical pain too. It's mentally too. I mean, to you're 27, 28 years old. All of a sudden, you're making all this money. You have this identity as a football player, and you're big time. All of a sudden, you're thrown out to the real world. You're a normal human being now. You're a normal citizen, and it's a pride swallowing, humbling transition to the real world. And you just try to find yourself. Who am I? What do I want to do now with the rest of my life? I have these kids to raise, and I'm not making the income. You have to start from the beginning, and it's I got to take this insurance job or whatever for $30,000 when I used to make that every 2 weeks. It's a humbling, pride swallowing transition. And so, yeah, I mean, mentally going through that, and physically too. I played one of the most brutal positions on earth, being a fullback. It's not as if I'm a lineman, you're a yard apart hitting each other. It's it's a 20-yard sprint at each other's heads. And so, yeah, there's a lot of headaches.
Right.
And I couldn't tell you how many concussions I suffered. I didn't even count back then. What concussion was even a word we were even familiar with.
Like how many per game?
Correct. Yeah, and I did this every day at practice. How many? It was insane. So, and not working out as much as well and gaining some weight didn't help. It makes those injuries, knee injuries, shoulder, just your body aches a little bit more. And so, but yeah, it's having a goal, and I had responsibilities and couldn't take that way out, and got a good job and started to exercise again. And it's mentally, you just got to step up, man, be a man. But I'm feeling better today. Nowadays, I think I'm feeling better than ever. It's but I do think it's important for athletes to continue to train, get off your ass, and lose some of the weight, and have goals too. Every day set little goals for yourself. It just, I think is very, very important. So I'm in a good place now. I feel better. Kids are doing great. So, but yeah, there was a transition there. It took a good 5 or 6 years to kind of just find yourself and figure out what you needed to do next with your body and mind.
What was the most recent surgery you had, Joey?
Back. I had what ended my career was a knee injury. These are typical ACL, MCL.
Right.
But again, that didn't hurt. I had the best doctors in the world. Dr. James Andrews, who does all these famous athletes and actors. I remember when I was getting my ACL fixed, I had Sylvester Stallone and Hulk Hogan in the same room doing rehab with me. It's kind of awesome.
That's awesome.
It's very, very it's very cool. But my most recent was my back.
That's why I remember you being in the most pain, brother.
Oh man, yeah, it was terrible. It was I had 5 herniated discs, and one was hitting not my sciatic nerve, but the one that went down the front of my leg. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't walk more than 10 feet. I had no quality of life. I mean, my leg started to I had like a little peg leg. It started to atrophy because I wasn't using those muscles, and so I had a little pirate leg, and it was terrible. I was just, and the doctors would just give me pain pills, and I'm just sucking down, 30, 40 pain pills a day. Nothing would help. And then you get addicted to pain pills a little bit. And it was just a terrible, terrible cycle. But then I went to a neurosurgeon. And, he tried to do like a reflex on my knee. There was no reflex. And I'm like, is that bad? He's like, that's not good. And so, but it was a simple surgery. It wasn't very invasive. It was just, they had to just kind of trim down that vertebrae that was hitting that nerve, and it was very non-invasive. But I remember it was instant relief. I mean, I wanted to kiss the doctor the second I was done because the pain went away. It was a constant, unrelenting pain. I mean, I understood why people with chronic pain, kill themselves, because it was terrible, unrelenting.
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully you don't really remember how much pain it was, but I remember you telling me about it at times. And you're not. I've never known you to bitch or whine or complain about anything, but the fact I can tell you were in some pain at times, man. A few times I see you over the years.
Yeah, there was just no. It was unrelenting. There was no position I could be in that was, that would relieve it. I couldn't walk more than 10 feet in I couldn't sleep in any certain position. It was just always there, and I had no idea it was my back. I thought it was my leg. I thought I had no clue that all that pain in my leg was from my back, the whole nerves and all that, how that worked. I had no clue. And so, my back didn't really hurt, but I remember getting an MRI and the guy's like, you have a back of like an 80-year-old, and so, which makes sense. All the weights, squatting, hitting, collision. I mean, it made sense to me, but yeah, those nerves are something else.
Right. Joey, do you remember hearing about that steel beam I took to the head back in the fall of 2020?
I don't, but yeah, I want to. You piqued
Oh
my
yeah.
interest.
Well, yeah. I want to just get the subject of like that head trauma and rule changes in the NFL. Well, go quick version. It was September 17th, 2020. I was taking apart a big CrossFit rig, and a 3x3 inch, 75-pound steel beam like swung through the air and T-boned me, hit me right in the bridge of my nose, cracked my freaking head open completely. It was like Mike Tyson had punched me square in the freaking bridge of the nose like 10 times.
We call that we call that Tuesday in the NFL. That's every Tuesday for me.
Yeah, pretty much how it felt. But like seriously, I got a vicious freaking brain bruise. That steel beam bounced off my head. Be like, my God, did it knock you out? I'm like, well, kind of. Like literally, it knocked part of my sense out for like 10 months.
Kill a normal human being. You and I are these big like bulldogs. You punch us, it's like
right. So yeah, no kidding, man. So like the head trauma, man, do you think there's do you ever like sense the odd residual effects from it, or is it hard to really tell?
I do. Not so much mentally. I think I'm still kind of there and sharp and all that, but I get headaches. I get chronic headaches every day, almost every day, migraines, which I never used to have, which I should probably get checked out. I'm just too afraid to go to the doctor and have him be like, Joey, your brain looks like, chewed bubble gum. I don't want to have that conversation, but no, I don't think there's any slippage as far as, retaining knowledge and remembering things and all that, but I do notice I get headaches almost every single day, which has to be from football. But as far as like the other CTE signs, is anger and all that, depression, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't. I had some friends. I played with like a junior Surreal in San Diego.
Oh, brother!
And seeing some friends of mine go through that, and then there's no question that it had to be something mentally with the brain. I mean, that guy played 20 years in the NFL as a linebacker, at a high level. But when I knew him, he was, it was like a running joke in the locker room. And junior say I was so happy every single day, happy, hey buddy, everything, buddy. And I remember saying like, you pay me $10 million a year too. I kick me in the nuts, I'll be happy. I'll have a smile on my face too. But the fact that he went through all that, the anger and being aggressive towards people and mean and committing suicide, it wasn't him. It had to be something mentally. And unfortunately, it's happened to a few of my friends, but I'm luckily it hasn't happened to me. Not gonna.
Yeah, thank God, for sure. And what actually I'll do it. I think I might have like a roundtable discussion of that at some point. I'm not going to make the show about me today, but real quick, like anecdote to share with you is since that head thing, my head, I didn't realize it stopped ringing until 10 months after the incident. But it was pretty brutal. I'll send you some pictures of it when the show's over. But every now and then still I get this flip where my left becomes right, my right becomes left, north to south, like everything just flips backwards on me for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds, and it's trippy as hell, man.
Yeah, that's scary, man. It really is. I haven't had any of that, but I do get migraines, which is pretty debilitating. If you ever get migraines, man, it sucks. It's terrible, and nothing seems to help. But again, it's something. Yeah, something I can tolerate though. It's nothing like that. The back pain I experienced years ago. The headaches, I can suffer through that.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. You're doing pretty good for the shape you're in, Joey. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
Like the rule changes in the NFL, I have no problem with it, man, because and I remember you telling me this, like, man, Corey, I couldn't believe it. I literally sensed. You said you sensed the game getting faster, crisper, harder hitting. The 6 years you were a part of it, so I can only imagine the same trend has continued, man. So
it's nuts.
Yeah,
how fast it is. It is.
Yeah,
It's nuts. I remember like linemen like Orlando Pace, 350 pounds. I mean, these guys he was faster than I was. He was running sprints. He was beating me. And
holy smoke.
little DBs who were bench pressing more than me, and quarterbacks, like Kurt Warner being able to dunk basketballs. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, the athletes there at that level, it's crazy. I remember I had to lose a bunch of weight and I came in NFL like 250, 260. I'd get down like 230-ish. And it was just like, on Kurt Warner's fifth step and his drop back and his fifth step, I had to be 2 yards outside the numbers and 5 yards deep, no matter what. There's no excuses. And some guys holding on to you, grabbing you, tackling you. Got to be here on his fifth step because it wasn't about me. It's about the receiver behind.
On the fifth step.
On the fifth step, I got to be, on his fifth drop back step, I got to be 100%. Here. It was so fast. And and those athletes are so big and fast and strong. And so, yeah, those collisions are getting, and that's why I think there's so many like ACL injuries. And because I think these bodies have just developed faster than, normal human evolution. I think, the ligaments haven't caught up yet to how big these guys are and how strong they're getting. And so I think
no
a lot of injuries, but it is, man. I think they even, if you notice too, like even on kickoff is probably the most dangerous play in all of sports. It's a 50-yard sprint. These kids are moving so fast. But if you notice, a lot of the kickers are kicking in the end zone now. So they're taking a lot of those collisions out of the game, but they should just start the game at the 20. Just forget that altogether.
Man, I don't disagree with that. I'll probably, people don't get it unless they've had just a little taste of it and you've had a full life of it like you can realize it ain't worth someone dying, man.
No, man, because it's not just there. Yeah, like, even with you that's still pole hitting in the head, man, the long-term effects of just even one bad collision. I mean, if you have a 30-year effect, man, you may not notice at the time, but 5 years down the road, you could be like a junior Seau. Just get out of the game. Although I do miss some of the big hits. So like the back in the day, like for the safeties, like Chuck Cecil hits, I do miss like the safeties hitting some of those receivers.
Oh, no doubt, man.
I know it makes the game, and coming back and depleting somebody on like a punt return or that stuff is kind of, I do kind of miss, but I get why they got rid of it.
Oh, of course. Atwater, man, coming in and like lighting
up
the McCoy. I mean,
those are great.
Better than that.
And I do think there's too much protection for the quarterbacks. Those guys make enough money. They can take a hit or two.
Yeah, we can get some backups and playing time here and there. Come on.
Yeah, if I accidentally hit a quarterback's face mask, it's not a penalty. They can take that. I'm hitting his face mask.
Hey, I put this post on Facebook last night, Joey. Zach Thomas comes out of the NFL Combine, grades F. Nothing. Too slow, too small, too this, too that. Freaking Hall of Fame later. It worked out. So
it's
I think that's
that. Zach Thomas is. People always ask me who's the hardest hitter. Zach Thomas to me was the hardest hitter that I went against.
Man, I've heard that from other people. Man, tell me about it.
Just not again. Everyone dogs. He's too short. But you know what, guys? Football's about leverage. Low man wins. I don't care how strong you are. Low man's going to win. And Zach was one of those linebackers. I could never get underneath him. So he always was able to get his helmet underneath my. I mean, he gave me 12 stitches on my chin. I just was never able to get underneath the guy. The guy was a tank, and he did. I hated playing against him because no matter what, I was never able to just mesh up with him well. He always got underneath me and always got the leverage and always, damn it, they always got the best of me, man. But you are right, man. Like Dick Butkus. Do you think Dick Butkus would do well at the combine? He ran a 5.240. He would have
he might not even be going over to make it.
He probably couldn't even bench press 220. He probably would have had a cigarette, but you get him on a football and he rip your face off, So the whole combine thing to me is overrated. Tom Brady. I mean, you go down the list of people who it's not all about numbers, but
exactly.
But I do get why they do it. I mean, they're investing a lot of money in these kids, and you do want to, see where they're at. It does kind of give you an idea, I guess, but you can't. I think it's more mentally. Some of those things that are most important in football, you can't test for.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, just watching those Zach Thomas highlights, it's like his body became concrete on impact, man. It's like he didn't even look like he had
man. He didn't move. He just didn't move. It was like hitting a goddamn parked car. He just didn't move. And a little one, a short little rider, like a Lamborghini, you couldn't get lower than it. He just didn't move. I had no problem with Urlacher. I really had no problem with Ray Lewis because they were taller. You can get in there, to get lower than them. But Zach Thomas is of the world. There's another guy named Al Wilson in Denver. God, just were just like Ram Man and He Man. They're just tanks that they understood the importance of leverage, understood their body, and were good at what they did.
Yeah, that's an understatement, man.
Yeah.
What your highest point, lowest point while you were actively in the NFL, Joey?
Lowest point is obviously getting injured, knowing my career is more than likely over. It was I probably could have played a year or two, but I just didn't at that point. I had a family. I didn't want to run through the gamut of that. The highest point was, I went from being an undrafted fullback in the NFL to practice squad to becoming a starter. And I got to start, for 3 years with the Rams, playing with Marshall Faulk and Kurt
Come
Warner,
on.
show on turf,
Yeah.
man. And I was proud of myself. I mean, how often can somebody say they're actually proud of themselves? I remember the moments. I was just proud, man.
I'm proud of you too, man. It's freaking
I was proud. I got there. No one thought I would. I got to play for some of the best teams in the NFL, and I got to play with some of the best players in the NFL, man. And I held my own. So I had a position that I don't think was my best. I think I was a better linebacker, to be honest with you, than fullback.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I remember, so the fact that I made the NFL at a position that really wasn't my best, to me, I was proud of, man. It really was.
Well, here's another cool thing I'll add in there. You didn't even play your last year at Notre Dame.
Correct? I didn't. You're right. That's correct. I took Bob Davie was the coach, and I tore my shoulder, and he's the one that convinced me to take a medical red shirt. So I had another year. So I set out a year, and so I only played 3 years at Notre Dame. And then he also refused to give me that red shirt when I asked for it. So we'll get into that. But there was
probably helped light a little bit of a fire under that ass, I'm guessing.
It was bad blood too. It made me just hate kind of Notre Dame for a while and all that. But it was nerve-wracking because when other players are sitting here are looking for agents and getting prepared for the NFL, I wasn't, and so I had a late start, so I didn't really get to do all the combine training and all that stuff. I kind of went in cold, unprepared, and it didn't help. I probably could have got drafted. I was ranked top 5 fullbacks in the country, but only 3 got drafted that year.
Gotcha.
The next year, 13 did. So I mean, I probably could have got drafted by 3rd or 4th round, more than likely. But anyways, it's hindsight, whatever. But yeah, I had another year at Notre Dame. You are correct.
Yeah. Well, however it worked, ultimately it was meant to be. No doubt about that.
Yeah,
well, my son's always looked up to you, Joey. Quick update. I don't know. My oldest is they got 2 more years to play Division II ball up at Saginaw Valley State, Michigan, and unlike his pops, he's really got his head on his shoulders at that age.
Is he enjoying it up there? Has he enjoyed
100%? Yeah, 100%. He's got an engineering major. They got one of the best engineering programs in the Midwest, like literally. And he's big, man. He's like a little over 6'4", like 300, and smooth.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. You'll hopefully you'll see him this summer, man.
I just hate getting old, Corey. I hate it. I hated earlier when I said I've known you for 20 years. I hated that word coming out of my mouth. 20 years.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy to me. Yeah, it goes so fast, man. You are right. I don't feel as old as I turned 44 this month, next week actually.
Yeah,
and I'm like, holy shit, I don't feel 44. I don't. I feel like 28.
Yeah, Jay was like 3 watching you work out. Now he's out there.
Yeah, I do. A good kid, man. And again, I hate hearing that he's getting older. And
it's wild. Yep. My number 2 son, little Jolan, the one that was like born a little preemie. He followed your footsteps pretty good, man. He plays varsity as a freshman, led his team in interceptions and stuff like that. So, any words you ever share with those kids, trust me, it anchors in their head. And
it's funny. It's funny, like what you never know what what you're going to say, how it could affect somebody.
Yeah, the power of words.
I was a coach in high school. I remember when I first started playing. I remember walking back to the locker room with my head down because I got moved up, and I didn't have any friends in the team, and I wasn't really playing well, because I'm playing against older kids. I was used to getting 11 sacks a game, stuff like that. And I remember walking back, and I remember a coach came up to me. He's like, what's wrong, Goodspeed? And you could tell I was kind of down. He's like, you know what, man? He's like, there's only a few things in this world you can control. That's your knowledge and your effort. Just do those 2 things, you'll be fine. And I guarantee you to this day, he wouldn't remember saying that to me. I guarantee he wouldn't recall or didn't even think twice about it after he said it. But it affected me for the rest of my life because I did. I remember after he said that, the game slowed down. You know,
That's awesome.
all I got to control is the plays, never knowledge. So just know my plays and give max effort. That's it. Done. Easy.
Max effort,
It
baby.
simplified the game for me. It slowed it down. I can't control the plays. I can't control what they're going to call. I can't control the weather, but I can control, what I know. If they do call play, what I got to do, and just give max effort. And so it even helped the NFL too. Just my job. You're going to pay me all this money, and all I got to do is learn this playbook and go as hard as I can. Done. Easy. It's not hard. That's your job. So I didn't play video games. I didn't go to this. I studied my playbook and I gave max effort, and coaches loved me for it.
That's huge. I think that's great advice for anybody, no matter what. You might have fucked something up. You can always get back on track, build that knowledge, build that max effort, whatever you're working towards. So,
part of the mission of control something, do it. You can't worry about what you can't control. So knowledge, your effort, and your attitude. Those are three things you can control. Your knowledge, your attitude, and your effort. Those three things you control. Be the best at it.
That's right on. Joe, you ever thought about writing a book, man?
No. I haven't. I probably should. I have a lot of stories, man. I do. I have a ton of stories. I've got to play with some awesome people, man. I got to play with, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Doug Flutie, LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, Ricky Williams. I mean, I got to play with some pretty awesome people, man. Some pretty fun cities, some stories. I probably should write some kind of memoir, but I don't have the writing skills for it. I didn't excel in English. I don't know. I might have to somebody write that for me.
Hey, name the red light popped in my head and it said the name Ricky Williams. Tell us about Ricky Williams, man. I know he's a different kind of cat. Yeah, I've always heard wonderful things about him. So talk.
Ricky's the best guy ever, man. He when I was in New Orleans for that short stint, I mean, he was going through that, that stint where he wore his helmet in interviews and stuff. He was just the moment was too much for him. He's an introvert, he wasn't looking for the spotlight every day. And I don't know. He's a great guy. Ricky's one of those guys, I'll give you an example. Ricky never liked to go out or drink or party or anything like that, but he had a place on Bourbon Street, near Bourbon Street. And so I remember one time he threw a party for us and, gave us the code to his place. And we went there and showed up and he wasn't even there. He went back to Texas or something like that. He just gave us his house to because he didn't want us to drive home and get in trouble. Says, yeah, man, he's that type of guy. He's a really, really cool guy.
I've always just heard he was super generous, super kind, and just
he worked his ass off too. Don't get me wrong. Ricky worked his tail off. I mean, same with LaDainian Tomlinson, man. There's a reason why they were good. Marshall Faulks and Jerome Bettis's of the world, they were just God-given talent. They never lifted a weight. They didn't have to. That was God-given ability. But guys like LaDainian Tomlinson, I'll never forget. I'd go out after games and go drinking and come in on a Monday, kind of hungover, and I'd sit in the steam room just to sweat out some of the poisons, the alcohol I drank the night before. And I remember seeing LaDainian running up, the hills we did. There was a little mountain in the back. He would run up just doing sprints. I mean, and not just doing sprints. We're talking to exhaustion like we did, throwing up. And this is after a game. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man,
that's maxed up.
I'm a piece of shit, I'm in here sweating out alcohol. I played maybe 10 plays into the game before. He, ran the ball 30 times, had 3 touchdowns, and he's out here by himself, running his ass off. And to me, it's how hard do you work when no one's watching? And he would work to exhaustion like that. No one was out there. No one knew he was doing it.
Yeah, I think that's important to share, man. A lot of times, I think it's a nail on the head. In the NFL, there's some guys, they can kind of slack off a little bit and still make it. And there's other guys, the word slacking off doesn't even exist in their whole freaking aura. They're some of the most disciplined, badass human beings I've ever met. Some NFL players that, like you said, they're just doing it when no one's looking. They don't talk about it. It's not a big thing. It's just a way of life, man.
Yeah, again, that was an eye-opening moment for me too in the NFL. It made me realize I'm a piece of shit. I got to step this up. I mean, this is the guy who's the franchise out here working his tail off after playing an entire game, and he doesn't have to. He didn't need to do that. They're still going to pay him. He's still going to be the man, but he was. It was eye-opening for me that day too. That was a learning experience.
Yeah, that's a good reminder for all of us, man. Yeah. Knowledge, effort, and attitude. I think you hit the nail freaking out of the head with that.
Yeah, you talk about knowledge too. Like Marshall Faulk was the smartest player I ever played with. Marshall Faulk was a guy, again, he didn't need to work weights, but the reason why he was so good, he knew what the team was going to do before they did. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I'd be in my stance and Marshall would be like, hey, Goody, the safety's going to blitz. And I looked to see where the safety was at. He's 15 yards deep. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. No, no, he's not. No way. But sure as shit, as soon as that play began, the safety would blitz. And I'm like, how does he see this? You know,
man, Joey, I swear some of those dudes have like football ESP.
He did.
I swear.
He did. He was able to. I remember thinking, you were crazy, Marshall. Stop talking to me, man. You're crazy.
Well, I'm not even kidding. I really think some guys have like that supernatural gift where they just like see into the future.
He was able to like read the like mannerisms. He was able to see like how he leaned, his weight, how he shifted his weight, his eyes. I mean, granted, I was in a fullback position. He was able to see that, but still, I mean, he just had the football IQ, and that's why he was so good. He was able to make cuts and knew where the hole was going to be. And those are things, again, you can't teach, but again, that's his knowledge of the game, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
You talk about effort, too. You talk about effort, like with Jerome Bettis. Jerome Bettis was, he had asthma. He's asthmatic. He had an inhaler, you know?
Oh, wow. I did not know
couldn't breathe. Yet come game day, you know, mental strength and being tough, he'd never hit his inhaler. He'd run 30 plays a game, he'd celebrate, but, come Wednesday, he's wheezing. He hit his inhaler. I'm like, don't be wheezing here, Jerome. I just saw you carry the ball 50 times,
That's hilarious.
I don't know Wednesday hitting your inhaler, but again, it's just being tough, mental strength, effort, fighting
the bus,
stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, he had asthma. It's crazy.
Hey, any football fans out there, go YouTube Ray Lewis versus Jerome Bettis. It's all the highlights of those two knocking heads. Man, it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, those two that's some big collisions, that's for sure.
Nope. Matthias, you got any science geek questions for Joey?
Well, for the last 4 or 5 minutes, I mean, how did you train to become good at doing cleans with like 400 pounds or whatever?
Yeah, I was always pretty explosive. I was always pretty quick, the fast twitch fibers. How I trained for that, I don't really know how I trained for it, to be honest with you. It was just I enjoyed it. It was a lift. Because when I first started, the squats kind of hurt me. It kind of hurt. I got tired of putting a bunch of weight and squatting all the way down. The bench press in high school, I hurt my shoulder too. So there was a period there where I couldn't bench, and so but I could clean. And clean didn't bother my shoulders as much. It didn't, and I was always really explosive. So I was able to do it really well. And I remember my brother Tom had the clean record when I got in high school. My oldest brother Tom. The clean record was like 250. And I remember I'm like, I'm going to beat that just to say, screw him. I'm going to beat my brother's record. And I ended up beating it as a freshman. I beat it. And then, I don't know, this guy was motivation because my brother had a record initially when I got into high school. And then once I beat it, I just wanted to, I guess, get it to a point where it'll never be broken again. And so I did a lot of and working with Corey too. And I'm not going to lie, Corey, all the box jumps and all the explosion drills that we did, man, it was definitely very helpful too.
Cool. Basically, I mean, I think what some people that are not necessarily as a traditional athlete as their first priority, that want to be a power lifter, a CrossFitter, whatever that type of thing is, sometimes they don't understand how competitiveness plays a role in progress.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe this can help answer Matisse's question too. You got into a point pretty quick. At first, you were competing with your brother. Then you were competing with Joey. It was Joey versus Joey every damn workout.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was, and it was too. Like in high school, I was ranked like number 2 or 3 player in the nation. Getting recruited by all these schools, and I remember just thinking like, there's a fear factor in your head. Like, man, do I deserve all this recognition, all this acknowledgement? And I remember thinking like, I was obsessed in high school, man. I used to work out before school. I used to work out during school, like during called Excel, like weightlifting gym class. I used to work out after school. I got to a point where like I'd wake up in the middle of the night thinking, there's probably some kid out there working harder than me right now. And so I'd get up and do push-ups. I was obsessive about it, man. I want to live up to those expectations, and I want to live up to all the accolades I was getting. And I also wanted to win. I wanted my team to win. Then my teammates were leaning on me to do well. And so a lot of pressure, it was stressful. It really was in high school. But I don't know, I had that obsessive compulsive kind of disorder thing, I guess, going on as well. But yeah, I may have overtrained, but yeah, I did have fun doing it. I mean, it was fun too. I mean, no one ever had a passion for us. No one ever had to like with my kids today, force them to train or force them to do something. If you have a passion for something, you don't mind doing it. So I did have a passion for it as well.
Right, I believe. Well, hey, we're at our time limit here. Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Goodspeed, freaking great friend, tremendous athlete, wonderful father, just an absolute all-American role model, if you ask me. Joey, I love you, brother. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out here and share this stuff with us, man.
Anytime, brother.
But don't hang up yet. But Matthias, let's formally wrap this show up. Any parting thoughts, Matthias?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that we are having like Joey, LeVar Fischer, Brian Mincher, Vincenello, and Ryan Kennelly so far, and they all say the same thing. It doesn't matter that much how I trained. It's the power of belief and the competition that drove me, my progress, you know? And
yeah, I think that's important to know.
I think that's a great takeaway for the listeners, like right now and on every episode in general.
Yep. Okay. Much love. We'll follow up with some updates on Joey in the future. Rap Fiend Radio, The Corey Maselli Show, Joey Goodspeed, The Sexy Viking, Matthias Bergstrom Anderson. Peace.